Last class we discussed rectilinear motion. And we discussed the concept of projectile. Motion. Right? So while dealing with concept of projectile, what we did was, like, for x component, we took the x component velocity. Similarly for y component, so if you want to find the y distance or the distance in y direction or the height, whatever you want to know, you need to apply the y component velocity. Okay, y component velocity. This is the major concept that was used to solve the concept of projectile motion. With that, we discussed two different types of formulae, and we said that acceleration A is equals to dv by dt. Similarly, v was defined as ds by dt. Okay, and so if it is given, if acceleration is given as the function of time, we can directly differentiate velocity with respect to time to get the integration. And similar case goes with the displacement or the distance. If the distance or the displacement is given with the function of time, we can differentiate the distance with respect to time and get the velocity. So this is what we discussed, and the next very important formula was A is the function of when A is given as the function of velocity. At that particular case, what we did was we defined A equals to dv by dt. So this equals to A dt equals to d. So in place of dt, what we did was, like, dt equals to ds by v. So A ds by v will be equals to dv. So A ds equals to vd. This was one of the most important and basic formulae that was used yesterday. So you need to remember this formula, or you need to be able to derive this particular formula using these two particular expressions. Okay, this is one of the most important formula that we have used yesterday. So today we'll be discussing. So we discussed in question number 4. Okay. So today we'll be discussing the motion of several particles or dependent motion. Okay. So today we'll be discussing the motion of several particles that is dependent motion. That means the motion of one particle or body depends upon the motion of other. Depends on the motion of other. This is one of the important concepts that we'll be discussing today. So in this particular type of problem, the major assumption, the first thing you need to do is, the first step you need to do is find the length. And since this length will be constant throughout the motion, okay, that while if you get such type of problem, you need to first be able to find the length. Okay, so in this particular case, see, this is the block A. From A to this pulley, this is a pulley which has a radius R2, and next there is another pulley which has a radius R1. So that the distance from block A to this particular pulley is x. The total length will be equals to x plus the length, total length is the length of this row, this whole row. Okay, x plus, and this should be equals to pi r. You can write so see, you can write this one. This is the length. This is the length, and next this is the length. So this length is y. यहाँ फेरि लेख्छु x मा प्रब्लम भएन, y मा पनि प्रब्लम भएन. Y means this is y and this is again y. Y this length plus this length y means y plus y. Okay, then this whole length is b. So what will be the, see, that means यहाँदेखि यहाँसम्मको length हो, and whole the circumference will what 2 pi r1 divided by 2 किन 180 degree ले गरेको छ, therefore it will be equals to pi r1. Similarly यो केसमा कति हुन्छ 2 pi r2 divided by 4 90 degree मा छ भनेपछि pi r2 divided by 2. The total length becomes pi r2 divided by 2. So अब मैले हेर त यो a लाई मैले जता ताने पनि a लाई चाहिँ मैले यता पुल गरिरहेको छु, a लाई मैले यता पुल गरे पनि यो जुन length of this rope छ अथवा length of this thread छ, that length of the thread will not change, it will remain constant. a यता मुभ गरे पनि और यता मुभ गरे. Similarly b तल मुभ गरे पनि अथवा मास्तिर मुभ गरे पनि के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरिमा total length of this rope will remain constant. है, यो कुरा हामीले एउटा बुझ्नु. Since I can write L equals to x plus pi r2 by 2 plus 2y, y plus y, 2y plus pi r1 plus b. Now, अब मैले यसलाई के गर्छु, differentiate गर्छु with respect to time derivative लिन्छु, that is dl by dt. So dl by dt will be equals to 0. This implies 0. dx by dt is x dot plus this will be constant, will be 0 plus 2y y dot plus pi r1 0 plus b. Hence 0 equals to x dot plus 2y dot. ठीक छ, यो कुरा हामीले यहाँबाट हेर्न सक्छौँ. अब हेर यही कुरोलाई हामीले के गर्न सक्छौँ भन्दाखेरि similarly at 0 equals to x dot plus 2y dot. That means this can be written as x double prime, sorry, double dot 2y double. यो के थियो हाम्रो, हामीले dx by dt गरेको थियो, dl by dt which is equals to velocity. Similarly यो velocity लाई गरेको double dot हैन, त्यसलाई हामीले के भन्न सक्छौं dv by dt, and this is what acceleration. Therefore यसलाई मैले के लेख्न सक्छु, x dot भनेको के हो, x भनेको distance moved by a हो. That means change in the distance of a. Therefore change in the distance of a is what velocity plus 2y, y भनेको केसँग रिलेटेड छ, v सँग छ. Therefore 2v dot equals to 0. Similarly यो के हो, x double prime छ, x double dot. That means I can write a plus 2ab is equals to 0. This is how, if तिमीलाई यस्तो पुलीको क्वेशन आउँछ अथवा डिपेन्डेन्ट मोसनको क्वेशन आउँछ भने तिम्रो फर्स्ट assumption, the first assumption you should make is that you should find the length. So the length will remain constant. It remains constant. So then find derivative, first derivative dl by dt. Since this will be 0, and this implies velocity will be equals to 0. Write this. Similarly, find dv by dt. This implies L double dot equals to 0. This implies acceleration will be equals to 0. This is how you should be able to solve this sort of problems. Okay, now let's see the same concept. Position of particle may depend on position of one or more other particles. As we have already discussed, dependent motion is the motion in which the particle of one will depend upon the position of the other particle. So position of the block B depends upon the position of the block A. See, this pulley is fixed. This is also fixed. So the position of the block A will depend on the position of B. If A moves downward, it is obvious that B will move upward. If B moves downward, it is very obvious that A will move upward. So the position of A and B, the block A and B, will depend upon the position of A and B. So the thing in this sort of problem, what you need to do is you need to solve this sort of problem using the concept of constant length. What is the length? Is the length of the rope or the length of the string that has been attached. Okay, this is how you need to solve this sort of problems. So in the figure below, see, this is A, B, C. Okay, so what you can see is that the position of A again depends upon the position of B and C and vice versa. Therefore, you need to solve this sort of problem using the concept of constant length. So the first expression you need to write is, what you need to do is, the first expression you need to write is, the length is equals to constant. So in step one, you need to find the length equals to what? This should be your major objective for this sort of problem, to find the length. So see, we are going to find this length. So you, in this case, what you need to do is, like, you need to assume the distance from this fixed plane. Okay, and the total distance to A is XA. Similarly, the total distance of B is XB. So the total distance is what? XB. Therefore, what you need to do is, XA plus, this is the length XA, plus this is attached to B. You can write XB to XB, or XA plus 2XB will be equals to constant. So यसलाई मैले के पनि गर्न सक्थे भन्दाखेरिमा, अहिलेको केसमा यहाँदेखिको यहाँसम्मको डिस्टेन्स मैले B गर्न सक्थे, एन्ड दिस डिस्टेन्स चाहिँ मैले के गर्न सक्थे भन्दाखेरिमा, यो डिस्टेन्स, जुन यो डिस्टेन्स छ, यो लेन्थको रोप यहाँसम्मको लागि मैले कुरा गर्न सक्छु. सो लेन्थ अफ द रोप तिम्रो के थियो? XA थियो प्लस XB 2XB प्लस B इक्वल्स टु कन्स्टेन्ट. र यसको मैले डेरिभेटिभ गरेको भए पनि यो कन्स्टेन्ट भएर के हुन्थ्यो भन्दाखेरिमा B 0 हुन्थ्यो. त्यही भएर XA र XB को मात्रै के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरिमा डिस्टेन्स सेम भइरहेको छ. सिमिलरली यो केसमा हेर त, तिम्रो काम के हो? A सम्मको डिस्टेन्स मेन्टेन गर्ने हो. A सम्मको डिस्टेन्स हेर A भयो, त्यसपछि B सम्मको डिस्टेन्स, त्यसपछि C सम्मको डिस्टेन्स. सो त XA को डिस्टेन्स के हुन्छ? 2XA. B को डिस्टेन्स के हुन्छ? 2XB. है. सिमिलरली C को डिस्टेन्स के हुन्छ? XC. So this is XB related to यहाँ B छ, त्यही भएर के छ भन्दाखेरिमा 2XB है. यो दुवै A सँग रिलेटेड छ, 2XA 2XB प्लस C 2X इक्वल्स टु कन्स्टेन्ट. सो टोटल लेन्थ हाम्रो यसमा के हुन्थ्यो भन्दाखेरिमा 2XA प्लस XB प्लस C इक्वल्स टु कन्स्टेन्ट. सो देयर आर 2 डिग्रीज अफ फ्रिडम. वाइ 2 डिग्रीज अफ फ्रिडम भनेको दुईटा डिरेक्सनमा यसको फ्रिडम छ. आइदर हामीले B लाई कन्ट्रोल गरेर भने A र C दुवै कन्ट्रोल गर्न सक्छ, तर यहाँ मैले B लाई तल माथि गरे भने A मात्रै हुन्छ. देयरफोर यसमा एउटा मात्रै डिग्रीज अफ फ्रिडम छ. यो केसमा के छ भन्दाखेरिमा 2 डिग्रीज अफ फ्रिडम छ. देयरफोर 2XA plus 2XB plus C will be a constant. So what you need to do? You need to find the derivative. So to find the derivative, 2 dXA by dt plus similarly 2 dXB by dt. Similarly, dXC by dt is equals to constant. That's means dC by dt. So dC by dt is a constant, will be equals to 0. So this can be written as 2 VA plus 2 VB plus 2 C. VC is equals to 0. And similarly, you can write as acceleration dv by dt is equals to 0. This implies 2aa plus 2ab plus ac equals to 0. Right? Yeah, एकदम important concept हो. This concept can be solved by assuming the constant length. This is how you can solve this problem. Now let's see question number 5. This is based on the concept that we have discussed now, that we have just discussed. Okay, this is the concept based on this. So see, the pulley D is attached to a collar which is pulled down at 3 inches per second. So pulley D is attached to the collar which is pulled down. D is pulled down, means D can move along this axis. The motion of D is in this axis. Similarly, the collar, which is A, its motion is again in this axis only. Similarly, this is B, which is the load. At T equals to 0. At T equals to 0, collar A starts moving down from K. At time T equals to 0, collar A starts moving. Okay. Question with a constant acceleration and 0 initial velocity. That means I'll write what are given in the question. See, this color A starts moving towards downward at time t equals to 0. At time t equals to 0, that means VA initial velocity is also equals to 0. Why? 0 initial velocity given. With constant acceleration, that means there is a constant acceleration. There is a constant acceleration. Knowing that velocity of color A is 12 inches, knowing that the velocity of color A is 12 inches per second as it passes here. So at L, the velocity is given. That is VL is given as 12 inches per second. So this is V at A, that is velocity of Vk at position K is equals to 0. This is our initial velocity, whereas this is our final velocity, or Va is equals to 12 inches per second, whatever you may write. Okay. Determine the change in elevation, velocity, and acceleration of the block B when the block is at A. So the thing is that you need to determine the change in elevation, velocity, and acceleration of the block B. Change in elevation. Change in elevation. So this will either go up or come down. There is no other way. It will either go up or come down. That means if it goes up, what will be the change in elevation? If it goes down, what will be the change in elevation? There will be change in the distance. That is what it has asked you to find. The next is what will be the velocity of BV equals to what? And similarly, A, B, acceleration of the B is equals to what? So this is very clear that this concept is of dependent motion. So now what do you do for this sort of problem? So for this, let's do first step. We'll put a distance. We'll measure a distance from, sorry, we'll measure a distance from this position. So this, let this be xa, this distance be xt, and similarly this distance is rxb. So what you can write is, you can write xa plus 2xd plus xb is equals to constant. Right? यति कुरा हामीले लेख्न सक्छौँ. ठिक छ. के लेख्न सक्छौँ हामीले? x a plus 2xb plus xb is equals to constant. अब हेर त यति लेखिसकेपछि तिमीलाई क्वेसनले के भन्दैछ चेन्ज इन एलिभेसन भन्दैछ so these are change in elevation no these are not change in elevation they are the distance right from this position they are the fixed distance that we have taken. So change in elevation means you need to write xb minus xb naught maybe this is the change in elevation okay यो हुन सक्छ so मैले के गर्न सक्छु I can write xa plus 2xd plus xb is a constant I'll leave as it is for now okay or I can write xa plus 2xt plus xb equals to xa naught initial position plus 2xd naught plus xb naught you know they both are constant same हो हैन initial र final length के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरिमा same नै हुन्छ then I can write xa minus xa naught plus 2xd minus xd naught plus xb minus xb naught equal to 0. So I can write this particular expression. So the thing is you need to find this particular expression. So xb equals to xb minus xb naught equals to 1. So for this particular expression, to find this particular expression, you need to know what will be this value and you need to know what will be this value. Okay, so xa minus xa naught, you know, this is equals to 8. यहाँ given is a question matter. Change यसको a को change को length कति छ 8 inch given is. That means this is equals to 8 plus 2 xt. I do not know what it is xt naught plus xb minus xb naught is equal to 0. यति कुरा हामीले डिराइभ गर्यौ केबाट भन्दाखेरिमा constant length given छ त्यसको कन्सेप्टबाट we derived this much thing 8 plus 2xt minus xt naught plus xb minus xb naught equals to 0. Now your major objective is to find this. You need to find this such that it will be easier to find this one. Otherwise, if you do not know this value, you cannot find this value. It will be difficult for you. So let me write somewhere here. I'll write somewhere here that this expression 8 plus 2xd minus xd naught plus xb minus xb naught equals to 0. है अब तिमीले अब चाहिँ के गर्नुपर्छ भेलोसिटी पनि हामीलाई फाइन्ड गर्नुपर्ने छ यो पनि फाइन्ड गर्नुपर्ने छ अब त्यो हामीले कसरी गर्छौं होला त्यो तिमीले यसरी सोच त कसरी गर्न सकिन्छ सो हामीलाई गिवन के छ गिवन डी को छ सरी गिवन के को छ एट ए पोलर ए को छ ए को भनेपछि सो लेट्स स्टार्ट डुइङ फर पोलर ए पोलर ए को केसमा के छ हेर त के भन्ने पोजिसन छ this is our real position and this is our k position, right? So velocity of a, initial velocity of a naught is equals to 0 because this is at time t equals to 0. Okay, there is no initial velocity and what is given? Acceleration is constant. That is a is constant. This much thing is given. But what it has said that k will move. Sorry, polar A will move from position K to L, means it will move downward, and the distance it will move is 8 inches. So from this particular expression, what you can say is that I can write x A of L minus 8A x A at position K is equals to 8 inches. Okay, this thing is given. This you can write. So acceleration is constant. That means it is moving with some acceleration. What will be this acceleration? That you can find. That means I can write VA square minus VA naught square equals to 2A XAL minus XAK. Okay, 2AX. That is VA square. Okay, VA naught square, you know, that is equals to VA naught square. What is VA naught? 0. This is 2A and this is R8. 8 inch. Okay, so what is VA? VA is the final velocity at L. So what is VA? It is equal to 12 v square. Therefore, 12 square minus 0 equals to 16A. 144 equals to, now bola sakchha, A equals to 144 divided by 16. So this is equals to कति आउँछ हाम्रो 16 16 भनेपछि कति आउँछ 144 divided by 16 9 आउने रहेछ. So this is equals to our 9. 9 if that is inch per second square. Okay, inch per second square. This is our acceleration. Right? Your acceleration. So your acceleration भइसकेपछि you know the acceleration. Now you can easily find out the time taken. किन जति a लाई टाइम लाग्छ के देखि l मा मुभ गर्न त्यति नै के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरिमा d लाई पनि मुभ गर्न टाइम लाग्छ. सिमिलरली b को मोसनलाई पनि त्यति नै टाइम लाग्छ. टाइम त कन्स्ट्यान्ट हुन्छ. Therefore let's find time. That is VA minus VA naught equals to 80. Okay, so this comes from K. V equals to U plus 80 watt hour. So this is VA. VA equals to VA naught. What is VA naught? You know 0 plus A. What is A? 9 into T. So what is VA? You know VA is 12. 12 equals to 90. Therefore T equals to 12 by 9 into 4 by 3. 1.33. So that is 3 1 by 3 equals to 3.33 seconds. यति कुरा हामीले यहाँबाट फाइन्ड गर्यौं. हामीले एउटा एक्सप्रेसन अलरेडी लेखिसकेका छौं र यो कुरा हामीले के गर्यौं भन्दाखेरिमा टी फाइन्ड गर्यौं. अब हेर त ए तलतिर मुभ गर्यो भने इफ ए मुभ्स डाउनवर्ड इट इज obvious that d will move upward. There is no doubt in that. Right. See, since A moves downward, that is A will move downward. This implies D will move upward. Right? So the direction of D or the motion of D is in opposite to that of A. Motion of D, from this you can write motion of D is in opposite direction to that of A. To that of A. Motion of D is in opposite direction to that of A. So now how do I do that? Now there is pulley D is attached to the collar, which is pulled down at 3 inches per second. That means pulley D is attached to the collar. So the velocity of D is given, which is equals to 3 inches per second. 3 inches per second. that is v equals to, I can write dx by dt. Okay, this I can write. So v into dt equals to dx. Okay, so you can write v times dt is equals to dx. X at time t equals to 0 to x at any time t. So similarly, time t equals to 0 to any time t. So this will be equals to vt will be equal to x at any time t. हाम्रो के थियो भन्दाखेरिमा at any time t भनेको xd minus xd naught. Initial that means I can write xd minus xd naught is equals to v. What is v? Velocity is 3 and time हामीले निकालिसकेको छु 1.33 seconds. So this will be equals to how much? Around 4 seconds, 4 ounces, 4 inches. Right? 3.99 around 4 inches. हैन यति कुरा अब यति गरेपछि तिमीले के हेर्दैछौ भन्दाखेरिमा अब यो एक्सप्रेसन हेर त जुन हामीले यहाँ लेखेको छौं 8 को अब यो एक्सप्रेसनमा मैले भ्यालु राखे भने I can get 8 plus 2 xt minus xt naught कति छ 4 plus this should be as it is xb minus xb naught equals to 0. That means 8 plus 4 to 8 plus xb minus xb naught is equals to 0. That is xb minus xb naught is equals to minus 60. So what does this imply? This implies xb minus xb naught, which is the change in the elevation of block B, is in the change in elevation is 10 inches. 10 inches. In which direction negative sign represents? In upward direction. In upward direction. किन हामीले चाहिँ के छ a को मोसनलाई डाउनवर्डलाई हामीले के गरेको थियो पोजिटिभ मानेको छ त्यही भएर जुन नेगेटिभ आ त्यसले चाहिँ के रिप्रेजेन्ट गर्छ भन्दाखेरि इट विल रिप्रेजेन्ट द मोसन इज इन अपवर्ड डाइरेक्सन hence by this way we found out the change in elevation is to find the velocity. So what will be the velocity? Let's find the velocity. So let's find the velocity. So the velocity is nothing but, to find velocity you need to integrate distance with respect to time t. So it will remain same it will be equals to va plus 2v d plus vb will be equals to 0. So what is the velocity of va? It is given, which is equals to what? 12 inches per second. 12 plus 2 vd. So what is the velocity of vd, which is given as 3 inches plus vb is equals to 0. This implies vb equals to 12 minus 6 and it's minus 18. Minus 18. So this minus 18 implies हाम्रो अहिलेको पनि के त्यो डिस्टेन्स अपवर्ड भएपछि भेलोसिटी पनि कति आउँछ अपवर्ड हुनुपर्छ. Therefore velocity is equals to 18 inches per second in upward direction. So for acceleration, you know, AA plus 2AV plus 2AD plus A will be equals to 0. So acceleration हाम्रो A को हामीले कति निकालेको थियौ 9 निकालेको थियौ plus AD 2 times AD plus AB equals to 0. हैन हामीले दिइराको छ यति भइराछ. तर अब हेर त AD को एक्सेलरेसन कति हुन्छ यो हामीलाई फाइन्ड गर्नु पर्यो. यो फाइन्ड गरिसकेपछि बल्ल we will be able to find the acceleration of the block B. So what will be the acceleration of the T? Okay. Okay. Now see, since D has a constant velocity, of 3 inches per second. Since the velocity is constant, there will be no change in the velocity, and hence acceleration will be equals to 0. That means 9 plus 0 plus AB is equals to 0. This implies AB equals to minus 9 inch per second square. यहाँ पे नेगेटिभ साइन आयो, जतापट्टि डिस्प्लेसमेन्टको साइन नेगेटिभ आइरहेछ, भेलोसिटीको पनि साइन नेगेटिभ आछ, एक्सेलरेसनको पनि साइन। अनि जता डिस्प्लेसमेन्ट र जतै भेलोसिटी हुने हो त्यतै चाहिँ के हुनुपर्छ भन्दाखेरिमा एक्सेलरेसन प्रोड्युस हुनुपर्छ। And hence the acceleration is equals to 9 inch per second square in upward direction. This is how we can solve the concept of this particular concept, problem of this particular concept. Okay, now let's go to our next question. So, okay, before discussing question number 6, we'll discuss some concepts. So we'll discuss two concepts today. One is the normal and tangential components, or the normal and tangential coordinate system, and next is radial and transverse coordinate system. So what happens to the velocity and what happens to the acceleration, or how do we find velocity and acceleration when there is normal and tangential component? This is what we are going to do. So first thing is we'll discuss the normal and tangential coordinates. Now see, the normal and tangential coordinates are represented as n and t for tangential. So if there is n, we represent that as a normal. If tangential coordinate is there, we represent that as a t. So this is a very natural description for curvilinear motion. In curvilinear motion, we defined either by normal component, the velocity, normal velocity, as well as tangential velocity. Okay. So in this particular case, what you need to remember is that there is a positive direction for n at any position is always taken towards the center of curvature of path. So positive direction for n at any position. Suppose at any position, suppose at this position. So what will be the positive direction of n? The positive direction of n is towards the center of the curvature of the part, or towards the center of this particular curvature of the part. Similarly, if I am at point B, again the normal will be taken towards the center of the curvature, right? T is the tangential, so we need to draw tangent to the path at any point. Suppose if I want to find it this C, so I'll draw a tangent at point C, right? I'll draw a tangent to this path at point C. Similarly, what is n? N should be again towards the center of the curvature. So this n is, the curvature is this side. So n should be drawn towards the center of the curvature. Similarly, n should be drawn towards the center of the curvature. This is what you should remember. Now see, let's explain. We are concerned with, in this particular chapter, we are concerned with displacement, velocity, and acceleration. These three things. One in rectilinear components, where we define by x and y coordinates, rectilinear. Next is normal and tangential components, and next is r theta components. So हाम्रो मेजर अब्जेक्टिभ यो च्याप्टरमा तिमीलाई के हो भन्दाखेरिमा तिमीले बुझ्नुपर्छ भेलोसिटी र एक्सेलरेसन डिफाइन गर्नु हो, अथवा भेलोसिटी र एक्सेलरेसन फाइन्ड गर्नु हो विथ रेस्पेक्ट टु कार्टेसियन कोअर्डिनेट सिस्टम अर रेक्टिलिनियर कोअर्डिनेट सिस्टम xy. अर्को नर्मल र टेन्जेन्शियल कम्पोनेन्ट्स फाइन्ड गर्नु हो, बोथ अफ भेलोसिटी एन्ड एक्सेलरेसन. एन्ड नेक्स्ट इज भेलोसिटी, एक्सेलरेसन र डिस्प्लेसमेन्ट पनि के को रेस्पेक्टमा फाइन्ड गर्नु भन्दाखेरिमा विथ रेस्पेक्ट टु द r थीटा कोअर्डिनेट, है. यो तीनटा हामीले बुझ्नुपर्छ. अहिले हामीले रेक्टिलिनियरको गर्यौं. नाउ वी विल सी फर नर्मल एन्ड टेन्जेन्शियल कम्पोनेन्ट्स. Okay, this is the thing we need to see. So let us consider the coordinates to define R, N, and T, which is normal, and next is tangential. At any point A, consider this is the position of the particle at any point A, and this is the path travel. This red line represents the path that the particle A travels. At point A, I can find a normal velocity as well as tangential velocity. To find tangential velocity, I'll draw a tangent to this curve, to this red curve V. Okay. Similarly, to find normal component, I'll draw a normal line which should face towards the radius of the curvature. So this is okay. Let me represent En. En is the unit vector in n direction, or this can be considered as the direction unit vector in n direction, and Et the unit vector in t direction. यसलाई हामीले के भन्न सक्छौं direction पनि भन्न सक्छौं. This is a unit vector in t direction and En is the unit vector in n direction. So at point A, Et हाम्रो unit vector in tangential direction. ए चाहिँ अब कुन पोजिसनमा मुभ गरे भन्दाखेरिमा ए रिच गरे यो पार्टिकल पोजिसनमा. ओके, ए प्राइम भन्नु यसलाई. ए प्राइममा रिच गरेपछि यसको र यसको फेरि भेलोसिटीको के हुन्छ फरक हुन्छ. सो यहाँबाट फेरि मैले के गर्नुपर्छ, आई नीड टु ड्र टेन्जेन्ट. सो दिस इज v prime, right, which represents the tangential velocity, and the unit vector along this direction is represented by Et prime. Similarly, normal is in this direction, normal velocity, and En is the unit vector in n direction. So En represents the unit vector in this direction, right? Now with dt or with the elapse of time, or with the lapse of time, A moves from position A, this particular moves from position A to A position A prime. While doing so, it covers a distance ds, okay, which is equals to rho times dv, where dv is the angle and rho is the radius of curvature of the path. यो भनेको के हो भन्दाखेरिमा d theta equals to theta equals to L by R जस्तो जस्तै हैन, where L equals to R theta. Similarly यही कुरा हो, dv equals to ds, the length of the arc, divided by the radius of the curvature or the radius. Therefore ds can be written as यो R लाई हामीले के भनेको छौं, rho भनेको छौं, and this can be written as rho d beta. This is how we get this particular expression. So ds equals to rho dv, where b is in radians. So remember that if the question is given in degrees, you need to convert that in the radians. So ds equals to rho dv. Now I want to find the velocity. To find the velocity, you should differentiate ds with respect to dt. So this is equals to velocity. So to find that, you have differentiated ds with respect to dt. Okay, since radius of curvature is not changing, it is constant. I can take rho out, so dv by dt. Now velocity can be written in the vector form. So any velocity can be written in vector form. It's vector form v et, where et is the unit vector along this direction, v et. Okay, so this can be written as v equals to rho dv by dt. I can write as b dot et. Okay, so next important चाहिँ यो हो, यसबाट हामीले डिराइभ गर्छौं एउटा important concept. Acceleration, acceleration equals to change in velocity by time, dv by dt. So dv by dt भएपछि v को ठाउँमा हामीले के लेख्न सक्छौं, v et लेख्न सक्छौं. So v यसलाई मैले uv को रुल लाए, product rule uv. So u dv by dt plus v du by dt, v du by dt. So you will get is what, v times e dot t plus v dot et. Right? This is what you will get. अब हेर त ओके अब हेर त अब यहाँ हेर त this is our dt and this is our change in dt, that is so this is db and this angle will be also equals to u angle db हुन्छ है, u angle db, this angle is also db. So in that particular case तिमीले के हेर्छौ भन्दाखेरिमा this is our dt and this is our dt. So एउटा ट्रायंगल फर्म भइरहेको छ है, et र et भएको ट्रायंगल फर्म भइरहेको छ and this is our this length is changing the det. त्यही भएर यो et, this is our et prime and this is dvt and this is our det है, यो कुरा हामीले बुझ्नु पर्छ. So direction of det is given by en. अब हेर त तिमीले के बुझ्नु पर्यो भन्दाखेरिमा के बुझ्नु पर्छ भन्दाखेरिमा det this det will be given as et the modulus of et times dv. det will be given as modulus of et by dv. So अब हेर त यो चेन्ज केमा भइराछ भने द डाइरेक्सन अफ det, यो det को डाइरेक्सन चाहिँ के दिइराछ भन्दाखेरिमा चेन्ज इन det, दैट इज det by dv. हेर त this det by dv is nothing but this is the unit vector along the normal to the path of the particle which will be equals to dn. en भनेको के हो डाइरेक्सन दिइराछ, त्यसको चेन्ज det र dv को चेन्ज कतातिर आइराछ, this is coming in this way, hence det by dv will be equals to en. ठीक छ, therefore det equals to det by dv equals to en हामीले लेख्न सक्छौं. किन भन्दाखेरिमा en त युनिट भेक्टर along the normal to the path of the particle whose direction is towards in which et turns. That means their change in जुन et छ with respect to dv तेरा चाहिँ के दिन्छ भन्दाखेरिमा युनिट भेक्टर along the en दिन्छ. Hence अब मैले यसलाई चाहिँ with respect to det by dv गरे भने integration differentiating with both sides by dv, det by dv will be equals to en. अब det by dv equals to en छ भने I can integrate with respect to dt. यो गर्दाखेरि तिम्रो के आउँछ, I can write this det by en dv. यो लेख्न सक्छु. यो लेखेपछि differentiating both sides with respect to dt, I can write det by dt en dv by dt. So det by dt भनेको के हो, e dot t हो, e dot t. So e dot t can be written as b dot en. Right? b dot en. Hence जुन हाम्रो इक्वेसन थियो, v e dot t plus v dot et थियो. et को ठाउँमा हामीले के लेख्न सक्छौं, b dot en लेख्न सक्छौं अनि vet will remain vet. अनि जुन हाम्रो चाहिँ के छ भन्दाखेरिमा b dot लाई I can write v by rho b dot v by rho. Hence acceleration a will be equals to तिमीले के लेख्न सक्छौ भन्दाखेरिमा an will be equals to v square by r or v square by rho. So therefore normal acceleration an equals to v square by r. Okay. र similarly तिमीले यसलाई के गर्न सक्छौ, at यसलाई के कसरी लेख्न सक्छौ तिमीले बुझ्नु पर्यो. एक्सिलरेसन a can be written as an en plus at et. So an भनेको के बुझ्नु पर्यो, v square by r or rho हाम्रो केसमा rho is the radius of the curvature and at equals to the tangential velocity which is equals to v dot t आएको छ. अनि यो v dot t फाइन्ड गर्नको लागि तिमीले के गर्नुपर्छ, you need to differentiate v with respect to t. that is v dot. This is v dot. V dot भनेपछि के भयो भन्दाखेरि v dot भनेको s double dot or ds by dt. Therefore a dot भनेको vt or at equals to dv by dt. So your derivation को मेजर कन्क्लुजन के हो भन्दाखेरिमा मेजर कन्क्लुजन तिमीले के गर्नु पर्यो भन्दाखेरिमा acceleration a can be written as an en plus at et. So an भनेको v square by rho plus at भनेको चाहिँ v dot, that is dv by dt. So dv by dt गरेपछि तिमीले टेन्जेन्शियल कम्पोनेन्ट निकाल्छौ. नर्मल कम्पोनेन्ट निकाल्नको लागि तिमीले के गर्नुपर्छ भन्दाखेरि so to find the acceleration you need to do at square plus an square. Okay, this is one of the important conclusions from this derivation. So at garnako lagi dv by dt is enough, no problem. Similarly an garnako lagi you need to know v square by rho. Okay, now let's discuss curvilinear motion. Here we will be discussing the concept using r and theta, or the polar coordinates r and theta. Okay, sir. So we discussed before using rectangular coordinates, and then we discussed the concept of tangential and normal coordinates, and now we will be discussing the concepts of curvilinear motion using the polar coordinates. So in polar coordinates, the particle is located at the radial distance r by an angular measurement theta to the radial line. So at that particular case, you need to use the concept of r and theta. Okay. अब यसमा पनि let's assume that er is the unit vectors along the r direction and e theta is the unit vector along the theta direction. Suppose a particle is at point A, which is at a distance of r from the origin at an angle of theta. Okay, so let er be the unit vector along the r direction. So this is the er, this is the unit vector along the r direction, and this is theta, and let this be unit vector along this direction e theta. This is e theta, which is along this direction. Okay, so position A can be described. So this position A can be described as r dot r equals to RER. This is the unit vector ER and R secure magnitude. And the position vector of R can be defined, or the position vector of A can be defined with respect to R vector R equals to RER. So it can be defined. Now see, during time del t, the coordinate direction rotates through an angle d theta. Delta theta, त्यो भनेको के भन्दाखेरिमा यो थीटा हो. After certain time चाहिँ के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरिमा this may rotate in this way. Okay, this may rotate in this way, right? This way, this may rotate in this way, right? Through an angle d theta. And therefore the unit vectors are also rotated through the same angle from ER to ER prime and to E theta to E theta prime. त्यो भनेको ER देखि हाम्रो के छ भन्दाखेरिमा ER देखि ER प्राइममा गयो. सिमिलरली E थीटा देखि केमा गयो भन्दाखेरिमा E थीटा प्राइममा जान्छ है. ER देखि ER प्राइम र E थीटा देखि ER प्राइम. So the change in length जुन हाम्रो हुन्छ, the change in length will be given as DER, and this change in length will be given as d theta. So you see this change in length DER, or change in the unit vector DER along कुन direction मा छ, it is along the theta direction, whereas change in length, sorry, change in unit vector d theta कुन direction मा छ भन्दाखेरिमा negative r direction, यो direction मा change भइरहेको छ. That means negative r direction मा change भएको छ. That means त्यसको change ले के represent गर्छ भन्दाखेरिमा DER र d theta को change कुन direction मा छ, d theta को respect मा छ है, e theta को respect मा छ. Therefore तिमीले के गर्न सक्छौ भन्दाखेरिमा DER को change चाहिँ is in plus theta direction. The change of DER is in plus theta direction, whereas change of d theta is in minus r direction. Since it is in minus r direction, the change DER by d theta is in what? Plus theta direction. Therefore, it can be written as d theta unit vector. Similarly, d theta by d theta को change चाहिँ के छ? Negative direction. Hence, it can be written as minus er. यसरी चाहिँ हामीले लेखेर DER by d theta, e theta, d theta by d theta भनेको के भन्दाखेरि minus er है. यो कुरा त्यो केहीबाट आएको होइन, यसको लजिक म्याथमेटिकल हुनुभन्दा पनि यसको लजिक के हो भन्दाखेरिमा चेन्ज इन डिरेक्सन. यसको चेन्ज DER by d theta चेन्ज हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ यसको के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरिमा थीटा डिरेक्सनमा चाहिँ यसको चाहिँ युनिट भेक्टर चेन्ज हुने हुन्छ. त्यसरी नै d theta by d theta गर्दाखेरि युनिट भेक्टर चाहिँ केमा चेन्ज हुन्छ भन्दाखेरिमा माइनस r डिरेक्सनमा चेन्ज हुन्छ. देयरफोर युनिट भेक्टर माइनस er लेखिएको. नाउ DER by dt हैन, DER by dt लाई इक्वेसनलाई 1 लाई हामीले डिवाइड गर्यो भने DER by dt can be written as d theta by e theta d theta by dt. Similarly, d theta by dt लाई हामीले लेख्यो भने चाहिँ we can write minus er d theta by dt. So DER by d theta लाई e r डट लेख्न सक्छौं, e theta theta डट लेख्न सक्छौं यहाँ. Similarly, यसको e theta डट लेख्न सक्छौं, minus theta डट er हामीले लेख्न सक्छौं. So now अब हेर त v निकाल्नु पर्यो भने v निकाल्नको लागि I can write v equals to dr by dt. So r is the unit vector. So therefore यसलाई मैले के r डट लेख्न सक्छु. r डट लेख्न सकेला मैले के गर्न सक्छु, यसलाई u ल्याउन सक्छु. r डट er plus e डट r times r. यसरी चाहिँ हामीले प्रोडक्ट रुल आएर यो निकाल्यो. So put the value from equation 2 to 3. After we put the value of equation 2 to 3, we get v equals to r dot er plus r theta e theta. Right? So from that you can write concept के छ भन्दाखेरिमा v can be written as vr er plus v theta e theta. है, यो vr er plus v theta e theta. अघि हाम्रो नर्मल केसमा के गरेको थियो भन्दाखेरिमा एक्सेलरेसनलाई हामीले a equals to an en plus at et गरेको थियौं. at लाई चाहिँ भेलोसिटी को dv by dt गरेको थियौं. an लाई हामीले के चाहिँ के गर्थ्यौ भन्दाखेरि v स्क्वायर by r गरेको थियौं. सिमिलरली तिमीले के गर्ने भन्दाखेरिमा यो पार्टिकुलर केसमा v can be expressed as vr er and v theta e theta. So velocity in r direction times unit vector in that direction, velocity in theta direction times unit vector in that direction. So this v theta you are you are, this is our v theta and this is our r dot equals to vr. Hence तिमीले vr भनेको यो एक्सप्रेसन याद गर्नु पर्यो. vr भनेको r dot भयो or this is equals to dr by dt. And v theta is nothing but हाम्रो r times theta dot. v theta लाई हामीले theta dot मात्र भन्नु भएन, r times theta dot भन्नु पर्यो. And velocity, combined velocity भने के हुन्छ, vr square plus v theta square. सिमिलरली मैले चाहिँ अब के गर्छु भन्दाखेरिमा इक्वेसन 4 यो इक्वेसनलाई चाहिँ मैले युभी लाउँछु युभी लाएर सल्भ गर्छु यो एउटा यसलाई एक्सप्रेसन गर्छु अनि त्यसपछि सल्भ गर्छु युभी लाएर मैले युभी लाएर सल्भ गरे भने चाहिँ के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरिमा I will get this particular expression, right? So e dot r e theta value equation 2 बाट लायो भने I will get this equation. So acceleration a can be written as ar plus a theta e theta. So what is ar भनेको r double dot भनेको double derivative second derivative of dr minus r theta dot square by u. Similarly a theta भनेको के भएको भन्दाखेरि r theta dot plus 2 r dot theta यो एक्सप्रेसन याद गर्नु पर्यो तिमीलाई चाहिँ यो एक्सप्रेसन थाहा हुनु पर्यो है यो एक्सप्रेसन ar भनेको के हो a theta भनेको के हो सिमिलरली vr भनेको के हो र v theta भनेको के हो यति कुरा तिमीलाई थाहा हुनु पर्यो सिमिलरली an भनेको के हो at भनेको के हो टेन्जेन्शियल र नर्मल कम्पोनेन्टमा र यसमा चाहिँ के हो भन्दाखेरिमा r theta कोअर्डिनेट्समा ar र a theta भनेको के हो vr र v theta भनेको के हो a can be expressed as ar times er plus theta times a theta times e theta. Similarly v can be expressed as vr er plus v theta e theta. Okay, with this conclusions we come to question number 6. So let's see the question number 6. So motorist is traveling on a curved section of highway at 60 miles per hour. So 60 miles per hour भनेको 88 feet per second हो. $88 feet per second हो, right? Brakes causing a constant deceleration rate. So motorist applies a brake causing a constant deceleration. That means there is deceleration. Deceleration. Knowing that after 8 seconds, the speed has been reduced. That means speed has been reduced to 45 miles per hour. Okay, भनेको 66 feet. So तिम्रो के छ भन्दाखेरिमा you know the initial velocity. Okay, initial velocity is known to you. Initial velocity is known to you, which is va equals to 88 feet per second. Initial velocity. And the final velocity of va is known, which is equals to 64 feet per second. And this change in velocity from 88 feet per second to 66 feet per second takes place in 8 seconds. Which has been given. Knowing that after 8 seconds the speed has been reduced. Determine the acceleration of the automobile immediately after the brakes are applied. So as soon as the brakes are applied, you need to find the acceleration. So to find the acceleration, a equals to, it should be equals to at square plus an square. Okay, acceleration. So at, how do you find at? Again, at change in velocity of vt सँग मात्रै बराबर हुन्छ v dv by dt सँग at. So this is equals to dv by dt. So what is change in velocity? Change in velocity is 66 minus 88 divided by time. What is time? 8. This is equals to minus 2.75 the answer. And what is an? Acceleration an equals to कति छ हाम्रो भन्दाखेरिमा v square by rho, where rho is the radius of the curvature. So radius of the curvature is given to you how much? 2500 feet. It has been given to you. And what is the velocity? The velocity is known. कतिमा गइरहेको छ भन्दाखेरिमा 60 miles per hour मा गइरहेको छ. Hence it is 88 divided by 2500 88 square. This is equals to a. यहाँबाट an आउँछ. Therefore an equals to 88 square divided by 250. किन भन्दाखेरिमा चाहिँ तिम्रो चाहिँ immediately after the brakes applied भएपछि 45 उसको miles per hour स्पिड हुन्छ. तर त्यो भन्दा अगाडि चाहिँ के छ भन्दाखेरि उसले 60 miles per hour मा चाहिँ ट्राभल गरिरहेको छ. त्यही भएको कारण चाहिँ उसको जुन भेलोसिटी जसले ट्राभल गरिरहेको थियो त्यो भेलोसिटी चाहिँ के हो भन्दाखेरिमा 60 miles per hour or 88 feet per second भएकोले हामीले चाहिँ के गर्दै छौँ भने we are taking 88 in this particular expression. So 88 square divided by 2500, which will be equals to around 3.10 feet per second square. Therefore, a equals to root under an square plus 80 square. This is how you need to solve the problem. Okay. Now let's go to question number 7. अघिको अब हामीले डिस्कस गरेको कुराहरु हजुर
an वाला फेरि भन्दिनु एकचोटी
ओके हामीले एक्सेलरेसन a equals to हामीले के गर्यौ an plus et है an भनेको v square by rho plus at भनेको change in velocity dv by dt. So हाम्रो change in velocity कतिमा छ 60 देखि हाम्रो 45 देखि 60 मा गएको छ. Therefore final minus initial divided by time 8 second हैन. यसलाई चाहिँ मैले कन्भर्ट गरे. यो चाहिँ हाम्रो के भन्दाखेरि टेन्जेन्शियल भयो. अब हेर त नर्मल एक्सेलरेसन छ है. नर्मल एक्सेलरेसन an equals to v square by rho. So v हामीले अहिले थाहा छैन. rho तिमीलाई थाहा छ कति 2500 feet. 2500 feet. यो सिन्स माइल्स पर आवर छ यसलाई पनि हामीले कन्भर्ट गर्नुपर्छ माइल्स पर आवर. अब हेर त के भनिरहेको छ मोटरिस्ट इज ट्राभलिङ कर्व्ड सेक्सन हाइवे 60 miles per hour मा ट्राभल गरिरहेको छ. द मोटरिस्ट एप्लाइज अ ब्रेक्स कन्स्ट्यान्ट कज यहाँ कन्स्ट्यान्ट डिएक्सेलरेसन रेट. ब्रेक एप्लाई गरिसकेपछि बल्ल चाहिँ के भएको छ भन्दाखेरिमा मोटरिस्टको स्पिड चाहिँ के भएको छ भने इट हैज बीन रिड्युस्ड है. तर बिफोर द ब्रेक वाज एप्लाइड चाहिँ के थियो भन्दाखेरिमा मोटरिस्ट वाज ट्राभलिङ विथ अ भेलोसिटी अफ 60 miles per hour. त्यही भएको कारण चाहिँ के छ भन्दाखेरिमा चाहिँ तिमीलाई के हुन्छ डिटरमाइन द एक्सेलरेसन अफ द अटोमोबाइल इमिडिएटली आफ्टर द ब्रेक्स आर एप्लाइड हैन. एज सुन एज द ब्रेक्स आर एप्लाइड त्यतिखेरको चाहिँ के फाइन्ड गर्नु भन्ने कुरा छ भन्दाखेरिमा एक्सेलरेसन तिमीलाई फाइन्ड गर्नु पर्ने छ. भनेपछि त्यो एक्सेलरेसन चाहिँ के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरिमा एउटा नर्मल कम्पोनेन्ट चाहिँ के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरिमा जतिखेर चाहिँ यो मोटरिस्ट चाहिँ को स्पिड छ त्यो स्पिडको हाम्रो चाहिँ के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरिमा एज सुन एज द ब्रेक्सहरु एप्लाइड भएपछि मात्रै त्यसको स्पिड 45 हुन्छ है. ब्रेक्स एप्लाई गर्नुभन्दा अगाडि चाहिँ कति छ उले 60 miles per hour मा मुभ गरिरहेको छ. त्यही भएको कारण चाहिँ हामीले के गर्छौं भन्दाखेरिमा जुन ब्रेक्स एप्लाई हुने बित्तिकैको स्पिड छ दैट स्पिड चाहिँ हामीले कन्सिडर गर्दैन किन यो ब्रेक एप्लाई गरिसकेपछिको स्पिड हो हैन. तर चाहिँ हाम्रो चाहिँ के छ भन्दाखेरिमा चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ जुन नर्मल लिइरहेको छौं जुन नर्मल कम्पोनेन्ट लिन्छौं त्यो नर्मल कम्पोनेन्ट चाहिँ के हो भन्दाखेरिमा चाहिँ इट शुड बी टेकन बिफोर द ब्रेक्स आर एप्लाइड. अब हेर त यो क्वेशन हेर त rotation of the arm about O is defined. Rotation of the arm about O is defined right, by Q equals to 0.5 t square, where Q is in radians. That means this is theta. Theta equals to 0.15 t square, where theta is in radians. Theta is in radians, so, and t is in seconds. Time चाहिँ के छ सेकेन्ड्स मा छ एउटा दिइरा छ. That arm O भनेपछि यो O को रोटेसन भन्दै छ. यो को रोटेसन विथ रेस्पेक्ट टु थीटा भन्दै छ. Polar V, so polar V slides along the arm भनेपछि polar V moves along this arm. यो आर्ममा polar V मुभ गर्छ. त्यसको चाहिँ एक्सप्रेसन R equals to 0.9 minus 0.12 t square दिइराको छ. where r is in meters. R is in meters. After the arm has rotated through 30 degree, that means theta has been rotated through 30 degree. Determine the total velocity of the polar. So you need to find the total velocity of the polar. That means you need to find the velocity of polar. Velocity of v find out. Total acceleration of the polar. Acceleration of the polar find out. And the relative acceleration of the polar with respect to r. So what will be the relative acceleration of the polar with respect to this arm? What will be this? यो कुरा हामीलाई फाइन्ड गर्नु छ भनेपछि पहिलो काम तिमीलाई के छ भन्दाखेरिमा तिमीले के गर्न सक्छौ फर्स्ट तिमीले के गर्न सक्छौ भन्दाखेरिमा हामीलाई थीटा गिवन छ हैन थीटा र r भनेपछि I can find theta. Let's write here. Theta is equals to 0.15 t square, where theta equals to 30 degree. That means you need to convert theta into radians. Theta is in radians. Convert theta into radians. So when you convert theta into radians, it will be equals to 0.524 radian. That means I can write 0.524 equals to 0.15 t square. This implies find the value of t. What's the answer? Zero point 1.15. 1.869 ounce. T equals to 1.869 seconds. So you'll get the time from this. Okay, this is how you'll get the time. Right? अब हेर त यो r को ठाउँमा मैले के गर्छु r equals to 0.9 minus 0.12 t square. यो भयो और r को हामीले के गर्न सक्छौं भन्दाखेरिमा 0.9 minus 0.12 time. What is time? Time is r1 1.869 square. This equals to हामीले के लेख्न सक्छौं भन्दाखेरिमा कति आउँछ 0.481 0.481 यो एउटा हामीले भ्यालु अफ r निकाल्छौं अथवा अब हामीले के गर्न सक्छौं भन्दाखेरिमा यसलाई अरु कुरा यहाँ पहिले हामीले टोटल भेलोसिटी अफ द पोलरमा जानु भन्दा पहिले हामीले के गर्न सक्छौं भन्दाखेरिमा थीटा हामीलाई गिवन छ भने र मैले सबैलाई इरेज गरे थीटा हामीलाई गिवन छ थीटा हामीलाई गिवन छ कति 0.15 t स्क्वायर यदि हामीलाई थीटा इज गिवन 0.15 t square, that means you can write theta dot equals to हामीले लेख्न सक्छौं कति 0.15 into 2 equals to 0.30 t theta dot है theta double dot कति लेख्न सक्छौं भन्दाखेरिमा 0.30. So these are all radian मा छ हाम्रो and this is our radian per second and this is our radian per second square and this theta is in our radian. यो भइसकेपछि तिमीले के लेख्न सक्छौ थीटा डट लाई 0.15 times t square. What is t? 1.869 1.869 square and then कति आउँछ 0.5239 आउँछ और 0.524 लेखौँ 0.524 के आउँछ हाम्रो रेडियन जुन अघि नै हामीले गरिसकेको छौँ थीटाको भ्यालु 0.524 रेडियन हुन्छ त्यसपछि युसी 0 into t or 0.30 into t. What is t? You know 1.869. So this will be equals to how much? 0.56 radian per second. And theta double dot भनेको कति आउँछ 0.30 हाम्रो r गिवन छ 0.9 minus 0.12 t भनेपछि दिस इम्प्लाइज हामीले r निकाल्न सक्छौं 0.9 minus 0.12 into t 1.869 square. This implies हाम्रो r को भ्यालु कति हुन्छ 0.48 0.481 मिटर. Similarly r dot निकाल्न सक्छौं. अहिले म भन्छु हामीले किन निकाल्दै छौं थीटा डट किनभने हाम्रो फर्मुलै त्यही छ अघि हामीले हेरेको छौं r निकाले चाहिँ म लास्टमा r dot निकाल्नको लागि के गर्नुपर्छ हेर त 0.9 कन्स्ट्यान्ट यसको केही पनि भएन minus 0.24 t यसको डेरिभेटिभ हो r dot भनेको dr by dt equals to हाम्रो के छ r dot त्यही r dot भनेको 0.24 t हो भनेपछि हाम्रो कति आउँछ 0.449 हैन मिटर पर सेकेन्ड अर्को r डबल डट भनेको dr dot by dt यसको डेरिभेटिभ अथवा minus 0.24 मात्रै आउँछ which is equals to minus 0. है तिमीलाई के छ यस्तो क्वेशन आयो भने तिमीलाई थीटा गिवन छ त्यहाँबाट तिमीले थीटा डबल डट त्यसपछि तिमीलाई r गिवन छ यहाँबाट तिमीले r डबल डट यो निकाल्न सक्छौ है त्यो भनेको के हो d थीटा by dt यो निकालेको यो d थीटा यसको पनि डेरिभेटिभ निकालेको डबल यसको पनि फेरि यसको डेरिभेटिभ विथ रेस्पेक्ट टु dt गरेर हामीले यो निकाले है यति कुरा तिमीले बुझ्नु पर्यो यो कुरा अब त्यसपछि किन हामीले t निकाल्न सक्यो भन्दाखेरिमा 30 डिग्री हामीलाई गिवन छ हेर त यो 30 डिग्री गिवन छ भनेपछि यहाँ लेख्न पाउँछौ 30 डिग्री हामीले रेडियनमा कन्भर्ट गर्यो रेडियनमा गरिसकेपछि हामीले यहाँ पुट गर्यो त्यसपछि बल्ल हामीले के गर्यो t निकाल्न सक्यो र सिमिलरली चाहिँ हामीले के गर्यो भन्दाखेरि सबै भ्यालुहरु निकाल्यो हैन टाइम त कन्स्ट्यान्ट हुन्छ अब यति निकालिसकेपछि लेट्स सी सबैले यो लेखिराख म यो इरेज गर्छु अब हेर त क्वेशनले के भनिरहेछ भने टोटल भेलोसिटी अफ द पोलर तिमीलाई फाइन्ड गर्न भनिरहेको छ क्वेशनले सो मैले यहाँ लेख्छु क्वेशन नम्बर ए टोटल भेलोसिटी अफ पोलर भनेको टोटल भेलोसिटी अफ बी सो व्हाट इज बी द टोटल भेलोसिटी अफ बी टोटल भेलोसिटी अफ बी हामीले गर्दाखेरि हामीले के गर्यो भन्दाखेरिमा r र थीटा को एक्सप्रेसन छ यहाँ r र थीटा को रूपमा हामीले एक्सप्रेस गरिराछौं दैट मीन्स velocity vb will be equals to v theta e theta plus vr er र अर्को हामीलाई के पनि थाहा छ a equals to ar er plus a theta e theta will be equals to plus bi square. So now you need to find v theta equals to what and vr equals to हामीलाई v theta र vr थाहा भयो भने चाहिँ हामीले के गर्न सक्छौं भन्दाखेरिमा we can easily find the velocity of the polar यो यसरी छ ओके अनि यो डिस्टेन्स हामीले r दिएको छ यहाँदेखि सेन्टरदेखिको डिस्टेन्स which is r and this is r okay and you know this angle is given to you this angle is given to you which is theta अब यसको velocity find गर्नु छ हामीलाई velocity of b equals to what so हाम्रो now you know to find velocity of bv you need to find v theta and vr so vr equals to r dot so r dot हामीले अघि नै निकालिसकेका छौं हेर त कति निकालेको छौं 0.449 meter per second केमा छ नेगेटिभमा छ and v theta हेर अघि पनि हामीले v theta को फर्मुला लेख्यौं r times theta dot so what is r you know the value of r r हामीले कति निकालेको छौं 0.481 times theta dot हेर त सबैले नोटबुकमा हेर 0.561 निकालेको छ 0.481 times 0.561 equals to 0.270 meter per second. Therefore, V equals to find your 0.524 meter per second. This is the velocity of the polar beam. Right? तर अब हेर त VR को डाइरेक्सन के छ VR को डाइरेक्सन नेगेटिभ आइराछ सो VR त यतातिर छ r दैट मीन्स यस्तो छ VR को डाइरेक्सन एन्ड v थीटा को डाइरेक्सन हाम्रो के छ पोजिटिभ नै छ सो दिस इज आवर v थीटा एन्ड दिस इज आवर VR ओके यो भइसकेपछि नाउ यु क्यान फाइन्ड द रिजल्टेन्ट क्वेशनले सोधेको छैन तर तिमीलाई रिजल्टेन्ट फाइन्ड गर्न भनेको नि you should be able to find the resultant, right? This is the resultant, and if this is the angle beta, in the madale tan beta find out which is equals to b theta by vr. You can b theta, and this is our vr. V theta कति छ V theta हामीले फाइन्ड गर्यो कति छ V theta 0.27 डिवाइडेड बाइ VR VR कता छ हाम्रो VR हाम्रो कति निकालेको छ हामीले 0.44 है यो VR ले के दिन्छ नेगेटिभ साइनले भनेको चाहिँ r जता एक्ट गरिरहेछ त्यसको अपोजिटमा छ दैट मीन्स हामीले यहाँ भनिसक्यौ यसको डाइरेक्सन यता छ थीटा को डाइरेक्सन पोजिटिभ नै छ v थीटा को दैट मीन्स थीटा यसरी एक्ट गरिरहेछ थीटा यतै छ पोजिटिभ नै छ यहाँबाट चाहिँ तिमीले के गर्न सक्छौ भन्दाखेरिमा 31.02 डिग्रीमा चाहिँ एक्ट गर्छ भनेर तिमीले रिजल्टेन्ट गर्न सक्छौ क्वेशनले सोधेको छैन तर क्वेशनले सोध्यो भने तिमीले चाहिँ यसरी एक्ट गर्न सक्छौ ठीक छ यो दुईटा हाम्रो फर्मुला चाहिँ तिमीहरुले याद राख्नु पर्यो है नर्मल र टेन्जेन्शियल कम्पोनेन्टमा an र at को सिमिलरली रेडियल कोअर्डिनेट सिस्टममा v र a the v will be expressed as v theta e theta plus vr er similarly a will be expressed as a theta e theta plus ar er है 0.524 आउँछ यसको ठीक छ सिमिलरली एक्सिलरेसन तिमीलाई फाइन्ड गर्न भनेको छ Similarly, the total acceleration will be equals to AR ER plus A theta E theta. Okay, and this total acceleration will be equals to AR square plus A theta square. So AR, how do you find AR? AR find गर्नको लागि हामीले अघि हेरिसकेको फर्मुला सबै लेख R double dot minus r theta dot square. r double dot हामीले निकालिसकेका छौँ minus 0.0240 minus 0.481 र theta dot को 0.56 हो यो चाहिँ हाम्रो के भयो भन्दाखेरिमा minus 0.391 meter per second square AR. Similarly, a theta हामीले निकाल्नु पर्यो. A theta भनेको r theta double dot plus 2 r dot theta है भनेपछि तिम्रो यो 0.481 into theta double dot कति छ 0.3 plus 2 r dot भनेको minus 0.449 into theta dot is 0.56. यो चाहिँ हाम्रो के भयो भन्दाखेरि minus 0.359 मिटर पर सेकेन्ड स्क्वायर. अब हेर त a theta र AR र a theta को के छ भन्दाखेरिमा डिरेक्सन नेगेटिभ आइरहेछ. द्याट मिन्स आर यतापट्टि पोजिटिभ भएपछि एआर को डिरेक्सन यता भयो. अघि थीटा हाम्रो यति लिएको थियो भने ए थीटा ए थीटा एआर. अब तिमीलाई रिजल्टेन्ट आर फाइन्ड गर्नु पर्यो. यु क्यान इजिली फाइन्ड दिस रिजल्टेन्ट आर एन्ड दिस इज व्हाट थीटा. थीटा अथवा यसलाई मैले थीटा भन्छु भनेपछि तिमीले tan theta equals to a theta by AR or theta equals to tan inverse a theta by यसरी चाहिँ फाइन्ड गर्न सक्छौ. र a भनेको तिमीले रुट अन्डर a theta स्क्वायर प्लस AR स्क्वायर है. यसरी चाहिँ तिमीले चाहिँ यो प्रब्लमलाई सल्भ गर्न सक्छौ. अब लास्ट क्वेशन हेर त रिलेटिभ एक्सिलरेसन अफ द पोलर विथ रेस्पेक्ट टु द आर्म. विथ रेस्पेक्ट टु आर्म त के छ रेस्टमा छ. आर्म इज नट मुभिङ हैन. विथ रेस्पेक्ट टु द रिलेटिभ पोजिसन अथवा रिलेटिभ एक्सिलरेसन भनेको यसरी क्वेशन कति हुन्छ भनेर सोध्दैछ रिलेटिभ एक्सिलरेसन. सो बिफोर दैट लेट्स do simple concept. Relative two particles. Okay, relative motion of the two particles. Consider this is origin O and this is B and this is A. So let this be O. The position vector of the particle A is XA. Similarly, the position vector of the particle is XB. So XB minus XA can be written as relative position of B. Relative position of B with respect to A. Right? XB minus XA is the relative position of B with respect to A, and this can be represented as XBA. So अब हामीले के रिप्रेजेन्ट गरौँ भन्दाखेरिमा XBA means relative position of B with respect to A. That means XBA can be written as XB minus XA, right? Or what you can do is you can write XB equals to XA plus XBA. Okay, this is what you can write. So you need to know, or you need to know this particular formula. That means relative position of B with respect to A, relative position of B with respect to A can be written as x. Okay, this is what you need to write. If now if xba has a positive sign or xba has a negative sign, if xba has a positive sign, that means b is to the right of a. xba positive sign छ भने b is to the right of a. If xba has a negative sign, that means b is to the left of a. Okay, यो कुरा हामीले बुझ्नु पर्यो. xba minus xb minus xa positive हुनु, xba positive हुनु, त्यो भनेको b should be greater, the position vector of b should be greater to the position vector of a. Similarly, xba negative हुनु भनेको xb minus xa negative हुनु हो, त्यो भनेको के हो भन्दाखेरिमा b should be at the right of a. That means position vector of a should be greater than the position vector of b, or the position vector of b should be less than the position vector of a. This is how we can represent xba, which is equals to xb minus xa. है, यो आज डिस्कस गर्छौं. नेक्स्ट क्लासमा यसको अर्को प्रब्लम छ जुन हामीले गर्नुपर्ने छ. Similarly, तिमीले xba is written as xb minus xa. In a similar way, you can write vba will be equals to vb minus va. In a similar way, you can write aba is equals to ab minus aa. Okay, this is the important concept that you need to remember. So कुनै पनि position vector with respect to k भन्यो भने तिमीले xb minus xa लेख्नुपर्छ. Okay, so we will deal the concept of relative motion in the next class, and now for now we will consider the last problem, the problem number C for the same question. Okay. Okay. हेर त हामीले a find गर्यो. Okay, b पनि find गर्यो. Now c equals to what? Now you need to find c. So the relative acceleration of the polar with respect to relative acceleration of polar of b with respect to arm. With respect to arm. With respect to arm, what is arm? Arm is OA. Right? B relative acceleration of B with respect to arm. The arm के हो हाम्रो OA is our arm. So relative acceleration of B with respect to our arm OA. यसरी लेख्न सक्छु. Relative acceleration of B with respect to arm OA. So this can be written as AB minus AOA. So what is AB? हामीले AB हामीले निकालिसकेको छौं. AB. So what will be the acceleration of AB? So you know that acceleration of B भनेपछि C, the motion of polar with respect to arm. हेर त त्यसलाई फाइन्ड गर्नुभन्दा अगाडि motion of polar with respect to arm. हैन, motion of polar हेर त के छ with respect to arm is rectilinear. It's rectilinear. किन यो लाइनमा मात्रै मुभ गरिरहेछ पोलर with respect to arm है. यो आर्म को रेस्पेक्ट में B को मोशन is rectilinear. It is moving in this line only. So the motion of polar with respect to arm is rectilinear and can be defined by the coordinate r. Defined by the coordinate r. किन भन्दाखेरिमा यो r को पोजिसन यहाँ छ कि यो r को पोजिसन सरी यो b को पोजिसन यहाँ छ कि भन्ने कुरा केले डिफाइन गर्छौं हामीले r ले डिफाइन गर्छौं. That means the change in velocity जुन छ हाम्रो, the change in velocity जुन आउँछ पोलर को with respect to this arm त्यसले चाहिँ के हुन्छ r डट सँग मात्रै फरक पर्छ. That is dr by dt. सँग मात्रै फरक पर्छ सिमिलरली एक्सिलरेसन भनेको के हुन्छ r डबल डट अथवा dv by dt सँग हुन्छ r डट यो भनेको dv by dt है त्यो कुरो बुझ्नु पर्यो किन यसले रेक्टिलिनियर मोसन भन्दैछ भनेपछि यो मोसनमा मात्रै हुँदाखेरि के छ भन्दाखेरि रेक्टिलिनियर मोसन छ देयरफोर एक्सिलरेसन अफ b मैले के लेख्न सक्छु आई क्यान राइट इट एज r डबल डट हैन किन यसको मोसन चाहिँ के छ रेक्टिलिनियर छ दैट मीन्स यो जुन r डबल डट अथवा चेन्ज इन r भइरहेको छ देयर इज चेन्ज इन r मात्रै छ यो b मुभ गर्दाखेरि देयर इज चेन्ज इन r ओन्ली when there is change in r only there is v which is equals to dr by dt right similarly a which will be equals to ab equals to dv by dt therefore ab will be equals to r double right minus 0.24 minus 0.24 भनेको माइनस 0.24 अब हेर त एक्सिलरेसन अफ OA छ त देयर इज नो एक्सिलरेसन टु OA बिकज इट इज इन रेस्ट यसको रेस्पेक्टमा हेर त OA मुभ गरिरहेछ तर विथ रेस्पेक्ट टु थीटा मुभ गरिरहेछ तर OA इज नट मुभिङ विथ रेस्पेक्ट टु दिस पोलर पोलर चाहिँ
ओ यो मान्छे आया कहाँबाट आइछ ओरा कहाँ गइ थियो
उदित तिमीलाई म्युट गर यार ठीक छ भनेपछि हाम्रो के भयो भन्दाखेरिमा दिस इक्वल्स टु 0 दैट मीन्स हाम्रो चाहिँ के भयो भन्दाखेरिमा AB by O अथवा रिलेटिभ एक्सिलरेसन अफ द पोलर विथ रेस्पेक्ट टु O इज minus 0.24 meter per second square यो कतिखेर हुन्छ भन्दाखेरिमा इट इज इन ER AR ER ER यो कुरा हामीले देख्न सक्नुपर्छ सो रोटेशनल तिमीलाई मोसनहरु दिएको छ रोटेशनल मोसनहरु दिएको छ भने यु शुड कन्सिडर द r theta कोअर्डिनेट सिस्टम है सिलिन्ड्रिकल कोअर्डिनेट सिस्टम तिमीले कन्सिडर गर्ने रोटेटिङ मोसन दिइरहेको छ आजलाई हामी यति राख्छौं क्वेशन नम्बर 8 सबैले घरमा गर्ने है कन्सेप्ट युज गर्ने यसमा क्वेशन नम्बर 8 मा हामीले प्रोजेक्टाइलको क्वेशन नम्बर 9 अहिले सेम एज इट इज छ अहिले हामीले जे गर्यौं डिटो त्यही छ सेम मोसन छ यसमा के छ भन्दाखेरि अघिको जुन पोलर थियो यो चाहिँ बी मुभ गर्ने हुन्छ र यसको चाहिँ के छ भन्दाखेरि बाइ थीटा पनि यसलाई चाहिँ डिफाइन गरिएको छ भोलि चाहिँ हामीले यो रिलेटिभ मोसनको एउटा क्वेशन गर्छौं क्वेशन नम्बर 10 एन्ड क्वेशन नम्बर 11 नेक्स्ट क्लासमा एन्ड देन वी विल मूव टु आवर नेक्स्ट च्याप्टर है काइनेमेटिक्स अफ बडी हामी मूभ गर्छौं है काइनेमेटिक्स अफ पार्टिकल्स हेर्यो काइनेमेटिक्स अफ बडी सेम फर्मुलाहरु युज हुन्छ अलिकति डिफरेन्स छ अरु सबै कुराहरु सेम हुन्छ र तिमीले मेजर इम्पोर्टेन्ट कुरो भनेको फर्मुला याद गर्ने हो यो फर्मुला हामीलाई याद हुनुपर्छ यो फर्मुला हामीलाई याद हुनुपर्छ है A equals to AR ER plus A theta E theta V equals to VR ER plus V theta E theta. So what is AR? You should know. What is A theta? You should know. Right? And what is VR? You should know. And what is V theta? That you should know. Similarly, for tangential and normal components, A will be equals to AT, ET, A plus AN, EN. So AT भनेको change in V dV by dt and AN equals to V square by rho, where rho is the radius of curvature of the path. यसमा चाहिँ यो दुईटा फर्मुला तिमीलाई याद हुनुपर्छ है त्यति भयो भने it will be easier for us to solve any sort of problems. त्यो अहिलेको फर्मुला A theta तिमीलाई याद हुनुपर्छ ठीक छ यसमा यति कुरा याद भयो भने हामीलाई प्रब्लम सक्यो त्यसपछि तिमीलाई थाहा हुनुपर्छ भनेको के हो भन्दाखेरि प्रोजेक्टाइलको फर्मुला लाउन नखोज्ने बिकज समटाइम्स फर्मुलाले एन्सर दिदैन तिम्रो बिकज फर्मुला मात्रै एट एनी इन्स्ट्यान्ट अफ टाइम तिमीलाई सोध्यो भने चाहिँ तिमीले के गर्नुपर्छ भन्दाखेरिमा त्यहाँ डिराइभ नै गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ। त्यही भएर तिमीले एक्स कम्पोनेन्ट लिएको छौ भने त्यस अनुसारको वाइ कम्पोनेन्ट लिएको छ भने त्यस अनुसारको एक्सिलरेसन दिने, त्यस अनुसारको भेलोसिटी लिने, त्यही अनुसारको टाइम दिने, तीनवटैको लागि त्यो टाइम, एक्सिलरेसन र भेलोसिटी कन्सिडर गर्ने। ठिक छ, केही डाउट छ? विथ दिस वी कन्क्लुड टुडे सेसन एन्ड मेबी विल मिट इन नेक्स्ट क्लास।
र हजुरले रेकर्डिङ पठाइदिनु भयो सक्छिनलाई?
के भन्यो नानी?
रेकर्डिङ
ए ल ल म रेकर्डिङ अहिले पठाउँछु, यसको पठाइदिन्छु।